So, Lumi, tell me a little bit about what you do. Sounds like you have quite the exciting career.
Yeah, I've been doing this for quite a while as an astrologer, intuitive, and transformation coach, energy healer. It started all in the beginning when I was 11 years old. I basically was asked that question that many people are asked, what is your sign? And it was from my friend at the time. And she gave me her first astrology book. And I had no idea what the terms were. Like I was never born into a family of psychics or intuitives, nothing like that. It's just like something that just fell into my hands. And as soon as I read about the Pisces chapter, I was so thrown and very excited to learn more about myself because as a child I was a very intense person. Was very emotive. I was very absorbed into people's impressions and I just couldn't explain why I was feeling certain things. And when I was reading on the Pisces chapter, and I was just like, this is really interesting because it is really affirming, but only that's the surface. Like sun sign astrology is just something that are like general themes as to what you're going to be mastering in this lifetime. Whereas you are diving in deep into other facets of the birth chart, it is so much more in depth than you believe. So that was just the surface level as to what I was learning. And over the course of my teen years and 20s, I was learning more about sun sign astrology, maybe about moon sign astrology. And that's like something where you're going to the next step in terms of your levels of understanding what astrology is all about, which is very fitting for this time because people are knowing more about their big three as opposed to before. So in my 20s, I was a hairstylist, a makeup artist. I was socializing a lot with clients behind the chair. I would pull up their birth charts on my phone. I would read their charts on a whim while I was coloring their hair, cutting their hair, all that stuff. So all the conversations were gravitating towards astrology and emotions and intuitive development and all that stuff. So a lot of my clients would often leave the chair saying like, you're born as a healer. You're meant to be a healer. And it was just like, yeah, I guess so. I'm like, I just love astrology. And it's just like something I never would picture being as a professional astrologer. But then I decided to enroll in Rebecca Gordon's School of Astrology. So she became my mentor. I worked with her for the last couple of years, like back in 2015. She was like, Lumi, she's like, you're ready. You're ready to be an astrologer. Go full force. You can do this. I honestly was still a hairstylist at the time. So I wasn't really like ready because there's just something that, it's just something I didn't fully grasp yet, but I love doing it like behind the chair. And then eventually in around the pandemic, that's when everything shut down. I loved conversing with people, loved socializing and talking about astrology and doing their hair and all that stuff. And I was really depressed. I mean, not depressed like so much where I was upset all the time, but I just felt like I need to talk to people again. So I started sharing my knowledge on Instagram, social media platforms about astrology, and I just was offering readings remotely. So then that's when my career took off. And I was still doing astrology on the side, but it wasn't full time. But then I blossomed into a full-time astrologer, and I just loved it. And I felt so empowered every time I helped other people. It's just like, that was the general priority of mine when I decided to pursue this full time. I just wanted to help people. And especially during the pandemic, a lot of people were gravitating towards astrology because of that time where astrologers were warning that like something big was going to happen in terms of structures, like things were going to disseminate around that time in January. But then March, that was the peak moment as to when the shutdown officially occurred. But then it led to me discovering my purpose that time, even though it was a little trying for a lot of people. But for me personally, it's just, I wanted to help people as best I could. And I've witnessed so many transformations in the course of my astrology career. I just love working with them. I became an energy healer, then transformational coach during that lockdown period. So I just immersed myself with as much information as possible, just so I can help people along the way when they are seeking out my services as an astrologer. And I hope that was like the jam-packed Cliff Notes version of my background, Sammy. Do you have any questions?
No, that's amazing. Yeah. So now are you also able to get vibes off people or read their aura? Is that what it's called? The aura?
Yeah, very funny that you said that. I used to see people's auras very clearly when I was a child. Again, like
Yeah.
the intuitive gifts, I just didn't know how to explain it with people. So I would randomly tell people what color they were. Like I clearly saw it in my inner eye, and even because you don't see it basically in your physical eyes, you see it in your inner self, like your it's like the third eye area that we all have.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Intuitive. You could think of it like a TV screen, like a film reel that you see in terms of impressions. So yeah, I was able to see it very clearly as a kid, but people were like questioning as to why I was seeing colors, and that turned off my gift entirely, or like the ability to see it. But when I tapped into astrology again back into the early 2010s, that's when my intuitive development was really peaking at that point, and it reawakened my intuitive development and abilities. So yeah, I could. For all the readings I've been doing for the last several years, intuitive messages does seem to come through most of the time with each reading that I do. I may see certain events in the client's life. I may see whatever relationship patterns they fall into. It's just like, they're like, how did you know about that? And oftentimes the way the planets are positioned in the birth chart, it does give off a vibe or a story as to what will be playing out in the person's life. Now, in terms of my coaching experience, I usually guide the person to help break those patterns, because astrology is wonderful when it comes to breaking patterns and as well as living more in the moment. It's not something where doom and gloom, this is it, like this is how you have to live as a template. In fact, astrology is meant to help you rise above that and live more in liberation and freedom and contentment more than you know. So that's my approach with astrology and how my intuitive gifts are interwoven into it.
That is incredible. And I heard you also do celebrity predictions. How'd you get into that?
Yeah, I've done celebrity predictions for like Tom Holland and Zendaya. Like I did like their synastry reading, like in terms of like how they work together as a couple. And it was before they even announced that they were a couple, you know? So yeah, I did that for a couple of news publications in the past. And it's just something that's very fascinating for me to really tap into. And usually I like to work with celebrities in terms of like how they're experiencing certain like intense moments of their lives and like or even milestone moments. I'll usually look back into those points in their life and tie in the planetary placements as to what was happening to their birth chart. So yeah.
Nice. Do you have any predictions for any celebrities?
I could pull up a chart right now if you want to take a look at any particular one in mind for you. I have the most famous four, I would say, like the ones that are like trending lately is Rihanna, Miley Cyrus, and Rihanna, Miley Cyrus, and Jennifer Lopez. But is there anyone that you would like to look into particular?
No, I want to hear those.
Okay. We can look at Miley Cyrus. I'm going to do this on a whim right now. Just pull up her chart. Okay. Bear with me, my program needs to be started up. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that, Sammy. My program's just shutting down for some reason.
It's okay. We're just going to have you on another time if it's not working.
I don't think Miley wants to be read right now. Let me see. Okay. Let's see if this works now. There we go. Okay. Do you want me to pull up the chart? Do you want to take a look?
Yeah.
Okay, make me the host, or co-host, so I can share the screen right now. It's fascinating what you see. It's like three wheels at the same time, and that's how we do forecasting as astrologers.
All right.
Cool. All right. So you're like, what is all that stuff going on, right?
Yeah.
A lot of activity. So the inner wheel, the smallest wheel, is her birth chart, Miley Cyrus's. Now, the most middle wheel that's circling around is called progression. So that's like where the soul is aiming for, or even like new lessons that will be playing out for the person. And the outer wheel is the today, like what's happening now. So in terms of her soul and grasping new concepts and developments, she's in a moment right now. She's in the 8th house moment, actually. So what that means for her is that she's really looking deeply in terms of her understanding of what intimacy is about, what it's like life, death, rebirth themes that's playing out for her right now. And it's very fitting for her song that just released a couple of months back, Flowers, right? Like developing like this deep connection to self, developing like this understanding of what vulnerability means. That's definitely 8th house energy. So it will be advancing over her Venus very soon. I'm going to give it a few months. I will tell you when it will be. And I'm not telling you it's going to be to the day, but it could be around the time range as to when this moon meets up with Venus. So this could be a time where she will be attracting a new relationship. I would say like around October of this year, she will most likely be getting out, starting to explore the paths of relationships, maybe even like go out in the open in terms of her, like basically revealing that she's in a relationship, but she's working towards this understanding of what relationships are about. And while she undergoes the transformations involving her new perceptions, a relationship might come into the clear vantage or a clear view as to, relationship will definitely be manifesting around that time. Does that make sense, Sammi?
Yes.
Okay. So around October of 2023, it looks like a relationship will be blossoming around that time, or she'll be meeting someone new around that point, which is really
wonderful.
Fascinating. Yeah. And even Uranus has been making its way towards, I'm going to simplify the screen so you can see what I'm talking about. So the planet Uranus has been in her 12th house sector of life for a little while. So she's been going through a lot of like transformations and newfound awareness of self, like decluttering her subconscious realms. Now, Uranus will be making its way to her ascendant, which means it's the house of self. It's like me, who I am. She might, from what I'm getting with hers, it looks like she's going to write a memoir. That's what's coming to me very strongly with Uranus going on to the 1st house. Something definitely rebellious will come out of the fore, even more so, like some tell-all will unfold around that time. Now, in terms of timing, I'll tell you when it will be. She's working on this. I don't think it's going to come out right now, but it will be the next few years. Like something will definitely drop around that point. So around 2025. I know I'm going way ahead for Miley, but Uranus definitely does go through, like whenever it's in the house of subconscious realms, it's like removing of the extra and superfluous information that's not serving you anymore. And then once it makes its way into the 1st house, that's when you're ready to express and tell everything from what you've learned for the last several years. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, it really is.
Do you have any questions about Miley? Or is that enough information in regards to predictions?
No, that's perfect. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's just going through a lot of like cathartic moments in her life, and it's birthing such beautiful art. I could tell you that, because these intense moments from what we go through, even on a personal, like for anybody, like the everyday person or even celebrities, they all go through like periods of regeneration. But after you make the clear of those periods of those intense times, it births something really beautiful in the making. So it's incredible how these planets it may rattle you up at the time, but once you're in the clear in terms of understanding the notes of what these planets have to offer for you, it just creates something really incredible and magnificent in your development, and as well as like any product that you want to make down the road too. So that's from Miley. And as far as, do you want to look at anybody else, anybody that you would like to, that you're interested in knowing more about? I said Jennifer, I think.
Yeah, let's look at J-Lo.
Okay. She's like such a light though. Like she has so much Leo energy. I don't know if you know she's a Leo.
Yeah.
Oh my, she's so powerful in her presence, and she has a Libra rising. So Libra rising is like beauty and enamorous and just very Venusian, like her expression, like she's always going to be like this radiant goddess, like in terms of how she presents herself. And her Venus signs in the Gemini. So she like definitely walks the walk when it comes to her own approach to beauty. And she'll definitely tell you in the most unfiltered way as to like what she does with her beauty regimens. And it's definitely fitting. And I just wanted to share that with you really briefly, because Libras are definitely going to go through quite a bit of intensity, including JLo. So what's happening right now, let me just change the place. What's happening right now in terms of the collective, like the eclipses will soon be phasing into the Aries Libra axis. So it means that Libras and Aries people will definitely be going through quite a bit of growth and expansion in their process of how they're generating themselves as a soul in this lifetime for the next 1.5 to 2 years. So in terms of how that falls into Jennifer Lopez, I'll explain to you with what's going on. Okay, here we go. Okay. Okay, so right now where JLo's at, oh, she's going through progress lunar return. So what that means is she's going to be coming up with some kind of new creation in her process of wealth, like even more so because she has so many outlets of income as is. But this progress moon is going to be going over her natal moon in the next several months. So she's going to definitely be dropping a product or something. I'll tell you when it will be. She's developing something definitely monetarily advantageous for her. And hold on, I'll tell you when it will be for her. It will be around February of next year, where she will definitely be dropping some kind of new kind of reinvention of her processes of how she's generating herself professionally. It could be, I don't think it will be a movie. I think it'll be mainly something like a product line of some sort. So that's one thing, because where her moon is natally, it's in the house of resources and money, how we're generating income. Now, this center wheel is like where she's aiming to in terms of fulfillment. Now, as it makes its way into her natal moon, this moon, that means she'll come into full center as to what she wants to do. Perhaps it will be like a new reinvention of herself as to what she wants to do in terms of her career as well. So that will be next year for her. Now, in terms of the eclipses is concerned, that area here, and you probably are going to cut this off from what I'm talking about here, right, Sammy? You just want to talk about the main headlines or the main points as to the predictions?
No, we can talk about this too.
We're okay so far? Okay, great. Yeah. So, all right. Like she has a lot of activity happening next year. There's not much going on right now, but I feel like in 2024, that's when things are going to be opening up a lot for her. So whenever this point right here, this is called a node. We all have it. Like we all go through north node, south node stuff. This has something to do with our life path, like what we're aiming to. The south node's all about what we're releasing. So this could be like a releasing of her old identity. She's grasping that new process of understanding how she wants to generate herself in the authentic kind of way. She'll be most unfiltered around this time next year with the South Node hovering over her, her ascendant. So that usually means it's like the shedding away of the old persona and something new will be emerging here. So it's really intense. It could be
really is, yeah.
Yeah, next year she'll definitely be reconfiguring her purpose in terms of what she wants to do with her career. I feel that very strongly. Right now, it's more calm for her. I feel like she's generating something new within herself, but she's thinking about it. That's what I'm getting, respectively. Her focus at the moment right now, and again, I can't speak for JL because I don't know it personally. I can't say, but like that North Node right here, it's more of like this grasping towards understanding what relationships are about. understanding how generations are meant to be generated for her, what fits for her. And she got married around the time when this little glyph here entered her 7th house of partnerships, which is very fitting because that usually happens to some people's birth charts. So it usually leads to committed partnerships or marriage, and her central scope of the next year and a half will be centered around her partnership, very much so.
That's amazing.
And even this little glyph right here, it's very interesting. It's called Chiron. We all have, You've heard of Chiron before, Sammi?
It sounds familiar.
Chiron's the wounding that we go through. And again, Sammi, I'm like more about evolutionary astrology. It's more about like what the soul is up to, like where are we heading to in terms of our own development. Now, in her case, that Chiron is directly on her position of partnerships. So there's a bit of this wounding involved the partner. I'm not saying I can't speak for Ben or anything like that, but perhaps there's like some kind of healing process that he has to undergo with her in terms of modifying their relationship terms. And it will be over her 7th house for a very long time. It just entered in full direction or direct motion. So she'll be going through quite a bit of realizations involving her perception of relationships. So that's a Chiron energy. And Chiron is the wounding that we go through, but it also presents the healing bomb that we need to modify our direction and goals in life. Now, in her case, this has something to do with relationships. It's really potent for her. And she loves love, of course, because she's always in like these love movies. She loves relationships, of course. And like, that's a Libra. It's like her ascendant is in Libra. So she's on the path of understanding how to be fulfilled in love and relationships and deepen the connection of love and partnerships, you know? Yeah. So that's my general predictions for Jennifer Lopez and Miley Cyrus. Like, do you have any questions for me, Sammi?
Yeah. How do I get my own reading?
Oh, yeah.
I want to get a reading from you.
Yeah. Do you have your time of birth?
I think 8:30 in the morning.
Okay, let's do this. Do you mind if I see your last name. Are you okay if I entered your last name? And
go for it. Yeah.
Okay. When's your birthday?
9/24/83.
Time of birth, you said 8:30 in the morning?
Yes.
Place?
Brooklyn, New York.
Oh, you're another New Yorker. Okay, great. Yeah. Have you ever had a reading done?
I have not, no.
Oh my God, this is amazing. Okay, great. Here we go. So what you see in front of you, you're Libra rising as well. It's very fun.
Yes.
We picked Jennifer Lopez and you know you're Libra rising. Okay, great. Big 3, I'm sure. Okay, so what you see in front of you is the orchestration of the planets in the sky was to when you were born. There's never going to be a repeat occurrence of this again. That's why it's really fantastic to know your time of birth. And in order to understand like how people live out in their birth chart story, like if somebody has a similar birth chart to you, like do you guys live out the same themes? That's not necessarily the case. How it works basically, just so your audience could understand with how astrology could work. What happens is if you were born at the same exact time and location as another person, you're not going to live out the same themes. The soul has a divine free will to live out specific points of the birth chart. Perhaps the soul wants to understand how they want to generate themselves with their self-worth, which is in this area of the chart here. That doesn't apply to you, Sammi, but I'm just giving a hypothetical reasoning. Or maybe the soul wants to perfect their emotions in relationships. So that's why it's like the soul definitely does decide which positions in the chart they want to work or it wants to work with mostly. So that's how you can explain to the skeptics of how birth chart analysis could work and interpretations, because no two souls are alike, no two birth charts are alike, even though you may have the same orchestration, but it all depends on the soul's free will as to how we're wanting to live out and experience in this lifetime. So now, do you have any questions about that?
No.
Okay. I usually like to teach people. So I'm a teacher as well in astrology. So, forgive me if I'm like teaching a lot. So now this is the positioning of where you were when you were born. So what I'm outlining right here is called the horizon line.
Mm-hmm.
This is the above the horizon, and this is the below the horizon. So whenever you have planetary bodies above the horizon, this is all about your contribution to mankind, how you are integrating with people, collaborations, understanding your public persona, like how you will be generating yourself in the outward expression. Now, the below the horizon is all about your introspection, regenerating oneself, understanding of how you're going to keep yourself up to speed. It's like the absorption phases of your life expression. It's like your inward personality and self.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
So now, your chief patron of the birth chart is Venus. So you're ruled by Libra as an ascendant. So
Okay.
your objective lens in this lifetime is to understand values, how to understand your own ability of radiating your shine in the world in some way. You need to be seen in the spotlight. Even though your sun sign is Libra, it's located in the 12th house, that's the subconscious realms, yes. But your active agent is actually Venus.
Oh,
so
wow.
your Venus is in Libra, your Venus is in Leo. So powerful and radiant and driven and just beautiful in its radiance. Like you need to roar when something's up. You need to like let out whatever it is happening in your life. And even being seen and recognized and not necessarily validated, but received is needed.
Right.
Now, where it's positioned is in the house of career, right here in the 10th house. So your direction and your purpose is more along the lines of you building up something that you want to see finished and shining in that radiance here. So, and also Mars is positioned next to it. So you have lots of grit and traction when you're so passionate about something. Even though you're as cool as a cucumber sometimes inside, like sometimes you are, but in terms of your creative drive and your momentum is definitely seen by your career outlet. Does that make sense with what I'm saying?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Very much.
Really beautiful positioning that you have here. And Venus and Leos are they're very radiant in their shine, like whenever they want to express their creativity. So whatever it is that you are doing with your career, it's really important for you to have some kind of aesthetics, like some beauty and some level of, it's like grandiose energy in whatever you put into your content or whatever it is that you decide with your career outlets. Where are you now in terms of your with what is that you're doing right now in the career spectrum?
I work as a journalist and I work in a gym.
Oh, you work in a gym too. Do you like to create content though? Like in terms of, yeah, it needs to be beauty. It needs to have some kind of like pizzazz to it.
Yes, of course. Yes.
And that's the Venus and Leo expression here. Now, in terms of like where it's playing out in the birth chart, like I see like Neptune coming into play. Let me clean it up a little bit for you so you can see. The Venus is in trine to Neptune. Third house is the house of ideas and information, like absorption, new skills, and all those things. It needs to be ethereal too. There needs to become some kind of mysticism, like interwoven into it. I'm not saying that you have to do that, but there needs to be some kind of spiritual tone to the messages here, because Neptune presents those kind of ideas. Now, a trine, mind you, trine means it's like an even exchange of energies. So you got Leo right here, that's fire. And you got Sagittarius here, that's also fire. So something that requires travel might satiate your growth as a soul too. Do you travel a lot for your career?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Do you work with like foreign relations? Like, or do you like want to work with people who are like from all the walks of life? Like, do you like to embed yourself with different cultures and different backgrounds?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what keeps you thriving as a journalist and even as a content creator. So maybe even adding that dash of your new projects or creations might help satiate your growth as a soul and even build up more traction with your career too.
Beautiful. I like it.
Yeah, it's really fascinating how this all works out. Now, in terms of life purpose, and as I was mentioning before with Jennifer Lopez, These are called the nodal points. The nodes are all about where we're aiming to, which is the north node right here. Like,
right.
what makes you feel most, it's like the area in our lives where we feel uncomfortable. It's like uncharted territory. But once you step into it, it's like, it's not so bad. Actually, this is incredible. It leads to more growth and opportunities in your direction. Whereas the south node is like something you've already mastered many times before. It's just like outmoded. Now, where it's taking place for you, your north node here is an indicator that you have to work with other people's resources, having people collaborate with you in order to help you grow and thrive in this lifetime. And even taking the deep dive at understanding vulnerability of you, expressing with what's going on inside you. I don't know if you're openly expressive or you want to be, like expressing your true feelings to what's going on with you, but that's what actually helps you stay more, it helps you stay more grounded, believe it or not, even though you may feel weak or you may feel like it's like an uncomfortable position for you, but it will actually help empower you and people will more likely listen to you as well.
Oh, good to know.
Yes. And the south node is like something you're really hardworking. You do everything by yourself. You need to have other people back you up. Now, you've already pulled in a lot of your weight in lifetimes before, and even in this lifetime here. So
true.
Including other people in terms of like vocalizing what's going on. And you're just like, I need some help with this. Can you help me? Like, can you back me up here? That's actually going to help you succeed even more so.
Wow.
Yeah. Even though you are meant to be like your own career woman, your own boss, like you're meant to like navigate your life, calling the shots, absolutely. But you definitely need to have people who work with you on things as well.
Yes.
Just to help you still like feel less this prone to burnout that you may experience.
That's very true.
Yes. And I love your moon sign and Aries. You're so fiery. You're passionate.
There's a reason my niece calls me Aunt Sassy.
So yeah, you're sassy for sure. You got a lot of fire in your chart. Fire is beautiful. You're like a roaring tempest on a beach, you know?
I love that.
Yeah. Like you have a little bit of water, but you have more air and fire. So this kind of atmosphere of the birth chart, I would say that you're like a large torch, like a large torch on a mountaintop, like something like that. Like you have like so much beauty in the birth chart and you have to be seen for your gifts. Now, with your moon sign, this defines your inner expression, like what's going on inside you. It's very fiery. And if you're not being heard, if you're not being recognized, you kind of implode inside. You have to like let it out.
Yes.
Libra's like, I don't want emotions. Like Libra's like, what's emotions? I can't. I don't want to bother people with my issues. But that moon in Aries begs to differ. Like you have to really be comfortable with those uncomfortable conversations that have to generate.
Exactly.
It's so beautiful though, the moon in Aries. Like it's just like you're a pure soul, like very pure, you're kind though. You genuinely want to help people whenever they need it.
Yes.
Yeah. And even the position of the moon where it's at, the 7th house, you're so loving in relationships. You need to give your all. Like whoever you connect with, put all of your love and support to other people and making sure that they're okay. But there needs a reciprocation though for you.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah. And do you have any questions about that?
No, I like this. This is really good.
Do you want anything like in terms of planning with your goals or like something where what to look forward to in the next several months or year? We could even do your solar return if you want.
I would actually love to do this, but I am running out of time. Okay. But would we be able to arrange something next time?
Sure. I hope you enjoyed this.
I did, yes, because I want to go more in depth with you on this. So I would definitely love to set something up.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope you enjoy the predictions or anything. Like, did you have enough information to piece together for yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. This is amazing, Lumi. Thank you so much.
You're so lovely. Thank you so much, Sammy, for meeting me.
Yes, we'll talk again soon.
All right, looking forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.